It's Lagos High School Music Challenge. Are you a secondary school student or music teacher of a school with band? Take advantage of the Lagos High School Music Challenge to showcase your talent today. Open to solo acts, groups, and bands that can play live music. Visit www.lhsbconline.com. That's www.lhsbconline.com to register your participation today. Earn a spot on Lagos High School Music Challenge stage today and win fantastic prizes. Let's revive the band culture in Nigeria. Lagos High School Music Challenge. Registration is free.
Ambody's aide, Professor Abbas clocks 50, unveils 2 international books on law, security, Soyinka, Utomi, others, Greece event. Special Advisor to Governor Akinwumi Ambody on Overseas Affairs and Investment, Professor Ademola Abbas, recently celebrated his 50th birthday with the unveiling of 2 of his books titled Complete International Law, Text, Cases and Material, 2nd edition, and Protecting Human Security in Africa. The event, held at the Sky Lounge, Ekote and Suites, Lagos, was attended by cabinet members of Lagos State, top government functionaries academia, including Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka. The golden birthday, hosted by Abbas's beautiful wife, Kike, had guests who were treated to the best of music, food, and comedy. Campaign of the event, an ace comedian Senator cracked guests up while Nigerian soulful singer Judy thrilled the audience with hit songs while food and drinks were served. The presence of Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka added color and glamour to the event as the reverend poet and writer congratulated the celebrants, endorsing the book as most essential for all international law students. Soyinka, who was special guest in his remarks, urged the federal government to place serious emphasis on education and security in the country, saying that though he was concerned that history as a subject had been scrapped from the school curriculum, security should be as a matter of urgency be taught in schools. Some associates and colleagues also took time to eulogize Professor Abbas, describing him as a thoroughbred professional, a consummate colleague, a true friend, and a goal-getter. His profile was read by equally cerebral associate Professor Jedenle Ngbo from the Bowen University. For the celebrant, it was more than just celebrating 50, it's about impacting Nigerian students. Professor Abbas further pressed on how to make the book affordable and acceptable to all students, saying that the books published in the UK are a bit expensive and not affordable in Nigeria. He persuaded law students not to only focus on the practicing of law in court, but they should also write, teach, and research law. The event was graced by other eminent personalities like Professor Pat Utomi and Vice Chancellor of the Lagos State University, Professor Olanrewaju Fagbon, members of the Lagos State Executive Council, and others. Professor Ademola Abbas was educated at the University of Lagos, Nottingham, and Cambridge, where he obtained a PhD in international law. Currently serving as a special advisor to the Governor of Lagos State on Overseas Affairs and Investment, Professor Abbas previously taught law in various British universities and was Professor of International Law and Organization.
English language at the University of Ibadan from 1988 to 1990, and law at the University of Lagos from 1990 to 1995, before proceeding to the Nigerian Law School in 1996. He also obtained a higher degree certificate in education from Bristol in England. Ademola taught international law, collective security law, international criminal law, and equity and trust in several British universities from 2002 to 2010, becoming a professor of international law and organizations in the year 2007. He served as a member of the Transition Committee in Lagos State from April to May 2015. He joined the government of Mr. Akinwumi Ambode as a Special Advisor, Office of Overseas Affairs and Investment, popularly called Lagos Global, in 2015. He was a guest lecturer at the NATO Defense Academy in Rome, Italy, from 2009 to 2012. He was also a guest lecturer at the Geneva Center for Security Policy in Switzerland between 2003 and 2007. He's also a visiting professor of international law to the University of Seville in Spain between 2003 and 2006.
But what I found out as an undergraduate in Unilag was when you open DJ Harris, which was just cases and materials, because in those days, even till now, books are either textbooks or cases and materials. Every single case you read will be from the so-called common law jurisdictions. New Zealand, even New Zealand made it. Canada, US, UK, and that is it. And Australia. Nigeria, nowhere to be found. Countries like Brazil, nowhere. China with 1.2 billion people, nowhere. South Africa, nowhere. So by the time I went for my master's degree in Cambridge, I became frustrated. That why don't we have cases from common law countries like in India, as an example? Put India and China together, you have 2.5 billion people, 1/3 of human race. No mainstream international law books ever mention them. Thankfully, Oxford University Press, allegedly the best in the world, so to say, came up with these fantastic ideas of doing text, cases, and material. The first book ever that will combine text with cases and material. At that point in time, I was in Liberia working with the Truth and Reconciliation Committee. Oh boy, that was a tough job. The war had finished, and they brought me in and a colleague from US to come and assist the commissioners in TRC during the rebuilding. I was dealing with people like Yomi Johnson and co, who thought we were going to refer them to the International Criminal Court, so they threatened us personally. So going to office sometimes was very dodgy. So I had enough time on my hand. I said, what can I do? Let me propose a textbook on text, cases, and materials on international law, Oxford. So I did that, and I proposed the second one, protecting human security in Africa. Luckily, Oxford accepted both. Look, anybody who's in academia knows that the dream of any academic in the world, like a footballer, if you're a footballer, you want to play for Man U or Barcelona. So the dream of any academic would be to publish one book by Oxford in your lifetime. There I was, nobody, I didn't know anybody, sent the two proposals. Within 2 weeks, they accepted both. Great, then the job of writing the books began. Now, Oxford appointed 6 reviewers, and you will never know the reviewers. There are people you never know. 6 reviewers for the international law, because a textbook. What I found curious, was one of the reviewers then wrote Oxford. They had to give review of every chapter and said, well, we are not sure why Ademola is using cases from Nigeria, South Africa, India, rather innocuous jurisdictions in an international law book. That these are not major international law jurisdictions. I could be very stubborn, my wife will tell you. So when I got that, so I wrote Oxford back. I said, now, I don't know who that reviewer is, and I don't care to know the reviewer, but you must take whoever they are off the list of the reviewers. And thankfully, they obliged me and took the person off. So I worked with 5 reviewers. Because the main reason for writing that book was to be able to give voice to many emerging jurisdictions in international law. And I was able to do that. Thank you. So the book was published. I mean, it's not a novel. It's not a novel. Brother Soyinka is sitting there. I'm sure he knows what royalties mean for when you are not writing a bestseller fiction. So it wasn't a novel, so the royalties were not great at all, but decent. But then my second worry was the book was not available in Nigeria. So I went to Oxford that, look, why don't you make this book available in Nigeria? And they made a genuine reason that, look, Nigeria is full of book pirates. We cannot do this. So we haven't got the market there. We went back and forth on this. Then within a year, the book came on second edition. Again, it won't be sold in Nigeria, so I became disinterested. So luckily, Professor Akin Oyebode from LAG will be here shortly. I did not know that Professor Oyebode in LAG had recommended that book to his own students in LAG, master students. This was just last year. I was just sitting in my office quietly, and a young woman came to my office and said, I have this letter from LAG by Professor Oyebode. He asked that you should give me a crash course on international law. I said, okay, what is that? She was studying mild, Masters in International and Diplomacy. So I said, okay, that's fine. He said, sir, your book was recommended. We have no access to it. So again, we're back to square one. So on that day, I had a single copy, my own personal copy. So I gave it to the woman. She said, you take it and go and read that. So I said, okay, I don't teach in the UK anymore. The books are still used all over. Yeah, but I don't teach there anymore. Why don't I take this book from UK and bring it to Nigeria to be published at home? Now, the person who's going to publish the book is Mr. Bankole. Yeah, he's over here. I have to be careful what I say now. I thought, look, I'm not desperate for royalties. The book today is £42 in the UK. That's about 20,000 naira, Nigeria, straight conversion. The second one, Protecting Human Security, is £120. That's 80,000 naira in Nigeria. So I said, okay, how many Nigerian undergraduates or masters will afford a 20,000 book in this country? So I thought, why don't you bring this book home? Get a Nigerian publisher. They will use newsprint, which will be cheaper. And I could say that I don't want royalties. I hope he's not listening. I don't care too much about royalties, but make it a lot cheaper for our students. So available. I was munching on this. By then I was working with Professor Soyinka just at 50 in time. So I told him, he's my mentor. I said, Prof, I have this idea. He said, oh, don't worry. So he said, don't worry. Bankole is coming from Brookcraft. He publishes me. We're going to have a lunch. So feel free to join it. I thought, fantastic, great. So somewhere in Lagos, we sat around table that afternoon for lunch. Unfortunately, my mom, who died last month, took ill that particular day. So she was rushed to the hospital while I was having the lunch. But I already took the card of Mr. Bankole. So I said, okay, we will engage on this. So the long and short is that then he offered to publish that book in Nigeria. So I started with Oxford. I bought my reversionary rights from them. So that book by next year is going to be published in Nigeria.
In the last 30 years, we're delighted to say that we have made our mark in Nigerian publishing. We have published books in all subject areas. And incidentally, this will be our first book in the subject of law. But we have published books on history, on art, on literature, culture, dance, what have you. And we're extremely delighted that we have a reputable list of authors on our list now, including, of course, the illustrious Wole Soyinka. But we also have on our list people like Kingsley Moghalu, Arthur Mbanefo, Ladipo Akinkugbe, Kole Omotosho, Yemi Ogunbiyi, Niyi Osundare, Matthew Kuka, Femi Otofison, Toyin Falola, Tunji Olaoka, to name but a few. And very soon, of course, we're going to add Ademola Abbas to that list. And the gentleman who spoke before me, Professor Udombana, will be on our list as well. Patu Tumi, who is sitting right there next to Professor Soyinka, is also, we're delighted to say, going to be on our list very shortly. So we are very proud to welcome Ademola Abbas with this first of what we hope will be a number of titles to our publishing imprint. Now, as we look back over the last 3 decades of our existence, we have no illusions about the challenges which still lie ahead for people in our kind of industry. Indeed, in some respects, the situation is perhaps even more dire today than a few years ago when we started. Especially because our society appears to have evolved into one which has devalued intellectual pursuit, learning, which is why I'm so delighted to be associated with Professor Abbas. Because how do you explain it when a university library for 3 years doesn't have the funds to buy books, but in that period has money to buy a vehicle for the chief librarian? You go figure that out. But of course, we must be hopeful, because with people like Ademola Abbas, we believe he will continue to write. This is not his only book. This is one of many. We have a bright future ahead of us.
About a week ago, the president of this nation admitted in the United Kingdom that history was no longer taught in school. Now, I made that discovery, I'm embarrassed to say, only about a year ago. I was shocked. I never knew that history was not being taught. If you don't learn from history, you don't even know how to secure yourself for the future. I called up a former governor. I said, I just heard something. That's last year. I said, is it true when you were governor that history was not being taught in schools? I said, yeah. He said, that's a fact. He said it was part of the fight to ensure that history remained on the books, but they lost that to the federal side, to the Minister of Education, who for some reason or the other, or his team, whoever they were, decided that history should be removed from school books. How can you talk about a secure generation if that generation is not able to draw from experience and secure themselves both in the present and in terms of a vision for the future? But you know, since Buhari spoke in London, I've been coming to different kind of prioritization. That maybe it's not history that should be so elementary to educational upbringing. That maybe it's security. If we can't teach history in schools, maybe we should substitute security. Right now, we have neither history nor security. And maybe some of us should talk to Buhari and say, maybe stop worrying a little bit for now about putting history back on the curriculum. Maybe start teaching security, because I think we all need it in this. We all need to understand what security is all about. We can plan as much as we want. We can make laws as much as we want. We can even formulate 20-year development plans, 2020 vision, etc., etc. If you and I cannot even understand how to secure ourselves on a daily basis on that holistic level, we're just wasting our time.
O, can we have an O? Can we have a V? And finally an E. Beautiful. Thank you so much. All right, so we'll stand for the picture. Let's stand for the pictures. Media people, pictures, pictures. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. May all professors go back to their seats. Thank you so much.
You are the only one I would love to spend the rest of my life with. I hope you will be my last kiss on head, and I hope let me also use this opportunity to thank everyone who has been here today. You graced us with your presence and you honored us by being here today. Also, I'm using this opportunity to thank the staff of Eco Hotel and Daniel especially. I'm very sure there's no way you can push me. You know now. Thank you all and everyone who has traveled far and wide. I say you get home safely. In Jesus' name. Thank you. Enjoy yourself.
Under the mango tree, you and me tonight. Under the mango tree, meet me later. Don't keep me waiting. Oh, you and me tonight will be satisfied. Under the mango tree, you and me tonight. Oh yeah, under the mango tree. Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby. When I wake up in the morning, I see your lovely face. It's like butter honey from my teacup. You take my breath away. You're pretty and me are so tender, like precious in the morning room. Oh, after I try to remember, heaven is messing with you. And every day you're praying to me. My whole life became anew. Because of you. Oh baby, I see it in your eyes. Oh baby, I see it in your smile. You tell me, cutie, yeah. I understand. You tell me, cutie, yeah. Oh baby, oh baby. Oh baby, oh baby. When I do you cry, it's something binds us together, supernatural. I can hardly live a moment without you, because of you, oh baby, I see it in your eyes. Oh baby, I see it in your smile. You tell me, cutie, yeah. I understand. You tell me, cutie, yeah. Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby.
Você